to my kitchen. I'm Scott, and through this series of videos I'm going to show you how to create really delicious restaurant quality meals for yourself, your family, and your friends. And today we're working on a couple of side dishes that will go along with lots of other things that you guys cook at home, but really goes good with roasted chicken, which I'm going to serve that with tonight, and that recipe is also available right here on YouTube. So let's get started. Today we're working on a couple of side dishes to go along with some of the items that you guys make at home. This particular side dish, or these two, actually go really great with the roasted chicken I mentioned earlier. So the first recipe is Spinach Madeline, and that's a traditional South Louisiana, especially New Orleans, side dish. And what you'll need for that is 1/2 cup of minced red onion. Red onion works the best in this recipe. I think it gives the best flavor. 4 tablespoons of butter, 1 tablespoon of chopped jalapeno, discarding the seeds and the membranes. And make sure you're using a fresh jalapeno that you actually buy in the produce department and not one that's in a jar pickled. That's not what you want here. 1½ tablespoons of kosher salt or sea salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of celery seed ground up. You can do that in a mortar and pestle or in your food grinder, or you can buy it ground. 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, 1/2 cup of chicken stock, 1/2 cup of heavy cream, 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1 pound of frozen spinach, the chopped spinach you buy in your freezer section of your supermarket. That's the best. You could use fresh spinach here, but you have to use so much of it to wilt it down. I find the frozen works just as well. And what I do is I set that in a colander inside of a bowl and let that defrost just over the course of a couple of hours. So let's get started putting this together. So I just turned a large skillet on over a high heat to let that start to heat up. While I'm waiting for that to heat up, I'm going to take the spinach that's in the colander and just squeeze that, letting all the juice run out into the bowl that's below it. You just want this as dry as you can get. The skillet's starting to get nice and hot, so I'm going to add the 4 tablespoons of butter. And let that start to melt. You just want to move it around. You don't want to brown the butter at all. You just want to melt it. The butter's getting nice and melted, so I'm going to add the 1/2 cup of the onions. And we're going to saute these for about 3 to 5 minutes until they get nicely wilted. As you can see, the onions are coming along nicely. We have them nicely wilted, but no color, and that is important. What we want to do is take 2 tablespoons of flour. This is going to start to build our roux. Dump that in, and with a whisk, incorporate that into your butter. And once you have no lumps, which will only take just a few seconds, and you'll see it'll start to bubble, we want to cook just a little bit of that raw flour flavor out of the roux, keeping it as blonde as possible. Then what we want to do is take our 1/2 cup of the cream. We're going to take our 1/2 cup of the chicken stock and whisk that until everything starts to come together. And in just, probably a minute, working over a medium heat, this is already getting really nice and thickened. So what I want to do is add about a teaspoon or so of the Worcestershire sauce. I like the flavor of that, so add a little bit more. But a teaspoon is probably what you want to go with. Get that all incorporated. So I've just kept the sauce moving around, incorporating it nicely. It's looking really great. So what I just did is I grated up 1/2 cup of mozzarella cheese and 1 cup of a really good Gruyere. This is a cave-aged Gruyere. And Gruyere is the French form of Swiss cheese. So all that goes into your bowl, along with the salt, the garlic powder, the celery seed, the cayenne pepper, the minced up jalapeno, and the 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. Just as easy as that. Now then you're going to take your whisk and just get all of this nicely incorporated. The cheese will start to melt pretty quickly, so you want to keep it moving around so it doesn't scorch or stick to the bottom of your pan. Alright, the sauce is nicely coming together. The cheese is all melted, and as you can see, the roux and the cheese have made it really nice and gooey, which is exactly what you want. So I'm going to take the 1 pound of the spinach, get that into the bowl, leaving the juice that we squeezed off in the other pot, and just get this nicely incorporated. So I've been stirring for a little bit, got everything incorporated. I want you to take a look inside of the pan and see everything is nicely incorporated, which is exactly what you want. Get the heat turned off. I've got a enamel cast iron baking dish here. And what I'm going to do is just pour this right into the baking dish. So the recipe is basically finished at this point. I put it into a baking dish because I like to take some breadcrumbs, mix them with some melted butter, put those on top, and right before I serve it I stick it under the salamander, under the broiler, and get those just toasted off. But this is absolutely ready to serve as is, which is great. So let's move on to our next recipe. As you can see, I've taken the breadcrumbs that I mentioned earlier, coated those with some melted butter, put those over the top of the casserole dish. What I'm going to do is just put this in the broiler right before I serve it, 350 or 350 degrees, or into the broiler, 10 minutes or so until they get nicely brown, not burned. Keep an eye on them. And they're delicious. They're really nice also if you prepare these in little ramekin dishes. You can serve those with poached shrimp off the side as a first course. It's really nice. So for the second side dish, this could not be easier, and this is more about the technique than it is about the food that we're using today. And all we're going to do is steam some carved carrots. And these are carrots that you can take a peeler, carve them down until they're little miniature size. You can also buy these at many grocery stores these days. So what I do is I have a pot of simmering water fitted with a steamer attachment on the inside. What we're going to do is take these carrots and just pop those in. Put a little bit of coarse sea salt just right over the top, and that's probably about half a tablespoon. I use coarse sea salt in most all of my cooking. It's a healthier form of salt than what you can get if you're using iodized salt. Sea salt tends to have more flavor and a lot less sodium than you buy when you buy like the regular iodized salt. So try it, you might like it. So I have this stuff in the pot. I'm going to get a lid on it, get this down to a medium heat, and let these go for about 5 minutes. I'm going to check them for tenderness. If you like your vegetables with a little more bite, take them out when they're ready. It's been just about 12 minutes. It took a little longer than I thought to get these carrots done. I'm going to get the lid off of them, and they are nice and tender with a little bit of bite, just the way I like them. So get these out of the steam into your serving bowl. Get this last little batch out. Put a little bit more of the sea salt right over the top, and they are ready to serve. They are going to be delicious and really easy to get together. And like I said, this technique can be applied to many other summertime vegetables. Zucchinis, squash, peas, beans, anything that you see in your supermarket produce section pretty much can be steamed for a really low-fat, low-calorie side dish to a main protein item. So there you have it. We have the Spinach Madeline. All it has to do is go under the broiler and it's ready to serve, and the steamed carrots. So I really hope you enjoyed the two recipes we demoed today, the Spinach Madeline and the steamed carrots. As always, thanks so much for watching, and please feel free to email me at scottindenver@msn.com should you want to make a comment on the show or to ask me to demo a particular recipe item for you. So, thanks again for watching. Take care. Bye.